Good afternoon, Dr. Candace Drummond. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you, James?
Outstanding, outstanding. This is our first expat chat for the Nomads Without Limits community. And I want to thank you because you're one of the first people I thought of because I know that you moved from the States to Jamaica and life hasn't been the same for you. Okay. So what I want to do is inspire others and just let them know that you can make the move. You're not out there on your own. If you have the mind, you can think it, you can make it happen. Okay. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a clinical psychologist. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, certified financial planner, a bunch of other stuff. I always called myself like a serial entrepreneur and like lifelong student. So honestly, if they hadn't cut me off with student loans, I'd probably still be in school. But I came to Jamaica about a year and a half ago with my daughter. She's 5 now. She'll be 6 in June. And we're both doing really well here. It was the best, worst thing that happened to me.
Wow, I love it. I love it. So you took lemon and made what? Lemonade.
I mean, I feel like, I went well beyond lemonade. Like, I've got champagne down here.
Yeah. So what inspired you to move to Jamaica?
And I always say, people are always like, oh my gosh, that's so brave. I can't believe you just made the leap, especially with the little girl. And well, at the time, it was really out of desperation. I own my own company. My company is called Avid Intellectual. We did psychological testing services for the state of Florida, various departments, Department of Vocational Rehab, Department of Education, Department of Disabilities. And what I had created was what I thought was a recession-proof business. COVID taught me otherwise, because in the beginning of COVID, we saw a 90% drop in revenue. And if you can imagine what that did to my finances, I lost everything. I was evicted from my apartment. My car got repossessed. It was really, the choice came down to going into a shelter with my daughter or moving to Jamaica. And so, I made the leap. I came with nothing.
Wow. Wow. I tell people my story sometimes. I've been homeless. I've been hungry. I've been without. I know what it's like to go to bed hungry. I've had just a loaf of bread and some butter, and that was my meal. So everything that you see me doing now, man, I worked, I prayed, I worked, and I made some good decisions. Okay. And sometimes you can make the best decisions in the world, but life will make other decisions for you.
Absolutely.
Okay? So basically, COVID inspired you to say, you know what? I got to move.
Yeah.
Gotta move. Okay. So my next question is, how was it when you first moved to Jamaica? What was the biggest adjustment you had to make?
Yeah, the biggest adjustment, so right before I moved to Jamaica, I had actually moved out of South Florida. I lived in South Florida for 24 years. It was my stomping ground. I knew everything and everyone. Okay. But I moved out of South Florida into Atlanta, again, for a cost of living differential and all of that. And I moved there and everything would have been great if it hadn't been for COVID. But, orienting myself to Atlanta was awesome. I could, think of, I'd like to try some sushi. Let's see where the best sushi is, read a couple reviews, press the Google Maps, drive myself there. It was awesome. Coming to Jamaica, the biggest adjustment is that you don't have Google. Like, I would say probably maybe less than 10% of the places are actually on Google. And, so you'll see an expanse, a whole strip of like a strip mall or strip of stores and shops. And Google just shows a blank street. Like there's literally nothing there, you know? And so you're like, it'll take you a while. It'll take months for like, even me for Ocho Rios City Town Center, which is my closest town. That's where, you know, I would go to, you know, get fast food, anything like, you know, or any specialty type products. I'd go to Ocho Rios, and it takes months before you even know all of the stores and shops, and things change out very quickly. So yeah, it's a life without Google. That is probably the biggest adjustment.
Okay, now how's the affordability compare?
No, you cannot compare.
You can't.
Like, you know, yeah. I mean, when I first, like I said, when I came to Jamaica, I came with nothing. I had $1,000 or just over $1,000. It cost me $5 and change for the plane tickets for my daughter and I, and $5 and change for my Airbnb for 28 days. And I was earning about $312 a month, $312 a month. And so I looked in the, you know, the newspaper, you know, I called around, found places, and I found the place that I'm in. My place is 3-bedroom, 2-bath, across from the ocean, like 180-degree view of the ocean, not just like, you know, a peak.
Right.
I've got, you know, hot water, all of the modern conveniences. And, you know, so I pay in Jamaican, it's $40,000 Jamaican. But because of the exchange rate, which has changed since I got here, I started paying about $300 a month for my whole place. That's what the 40,000 exchanged to. And now I'm paying around $270 for the same $40,000 a month, because like I said, the exchange rate has dropped. And like I would say, the affordability extends beyond, you know, just housing. You know, I bought a new car. Well, not a new car, but I bought a car. What, you know, would be considered a hoopty, a 2007 Toyota. And, you know, I yanked off the bumper because you know, it's very low to the ground. I wasn't accustomed. And so I took it to go have someone look at that. You know, they did the fiberglass welding, they sanded it all down, all of that for $35. You know, I can get health care. You know, I'm not insured in the States. I'm also not insured here. So I don't want to make it seem as though I have insurance. I don't. But here it's far more affordable. I can see a specialist for $35. I can, you know, get an ultrasound for $28. I can get an MRI for $50. I can, you know, if I have to go to the emergency room and have to see, you know, or be in the emergency room, it is absolutely free, you know. And so there's a lot of benefits to me. Like I said, the affordability doesn't compare, because what it does, it creates so much freedom in your life to have other ideas, to have other dreams, to have other passions that you wouldn't have been able to do when you're, you know, working for even 40 hours a week. And many of us before, we work more than that. We work 60, we work 70. And, you know, I mean, I work between 10 and 15 hours a month.
Wow. So you have a lot of time on your hands. Well, you told me earlier about your idea you thought of with Google.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, like I said, the biggest issue for me, and I would, you know, assume for every Jamaican, is really finding local and reputable services, goods and services. And because, like I said, there's virtually nothing on Google, you know, it's very difficult to do that. So what I've done in like the last, I would say probably between 4 to 6 months, I've actually developed an app that integrates Google Maps as well as consumer reviews. And so providers, you know, business owners, small business owners, hand cart operators, literally every size business is able to get a provider profile, put in whatever services they provide, and link to Google Maps where they're located, as well as what areas they are able to serve. And then consumers are able to download the consumer facing app of that, and they're able to now see any providers, any kind of services, mechanics, plumbers, electricians, dressmakers, literally everything that's located within their area. And they can review them to say, all right, this person did a really good job for me, give them 5 stars, 4 stars, etc. So that, between those two, you're able to, like I say, find things and find who's reputable and who you can trust.
So the beauty of it all is that you are receiving so much from Jamaica, and in return, you are giving back to Jamaica.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I found so much time, I would say, to give back to or give value and give back to so many groups. Like I said, as a mother, during the COVID lockdown, finding myself with a little girl in pre-K, trying to educate her while trying to work from home, it felt like there just were never enough hours in the day. Right. And so I was able to actually create a course, a short e-course, a mommy me time course that trains moms on how to create time for themselves and create time for their own passions and their own interests around their kids, and how to schedule out their activities, how to use time management, how to use behavior modification techniques and psychological techniques that I've used for years in theory and in practice. And it's less than $20. It's on my website. On there too, moms can find self-care items, bath bombs, face masks. They can find healthcare supplements. They can find even a branded travel platform, travel booking platform, Momscapades Travel, that is able to give you discounts on all kind of travel all over the world. And I'm also going to be adding soon consumer products, where you can also find green products that are good for your household, good for the family, not, non-chemical, and also good for the environment. So I'm also trying to find ways to, like I say, alleviate and provide solutions for moms, because we are actually the biggest spenders in the world. Absolutely. So, hey guys, there's a lot of help out here for us, and I'm going to be adding more courses, more products, more services, all of this in my brand new website. And you can get virtual psychological testing through my Avid Intellectual company too on my website. So all of it comes right together.
I'm gonna tell you, you went to Jamaica broke, and now you are rich. And you're sharing it with the world. I love that. So what do you like the most about Jamaica?
I mean, honestly, I would have to say the natural beauty. They say take time to stop and smell the roses. Right. But in Jamaica, I mean, the natural beauty just, it forces you to stop. They're just, it's just everywhere. Like I say, I look out my front door every morning to just, turquoise, blue, all different shades, cruise ships coming across the horizon at night with the pretty lights on, sunsets that have 7 different colors, shades of pink and orange and purple and blue. And it's just everything, like I say, and it never gets old. It just never gets old, because you'll be driving along on your regular commute. I'm taking my daughter to school, and I'm just like, look at that. It slows you down, and having the opportunity and having the time to slow down is tremendous. Because like I say, from where I was coming from, my work days, I was driving 10,000 miles a month all over the state of Florida, and I was successful. I would not have stopped it. I wouldn't have been like, I'm going to cut off my money, and so now being able to live and cover all of my expenses on $750 a month. And I'm talking about rent, lights, water, cable, internet, gas, all of this, And it's all covered. You don't need to make $10,000 a month to invest in foreign exchange, to put money toward marketing of projects, to build apps, to have passions and really devote money and time to those passions when you're not spending, your entire livelihood just living.
So it sounds like the biggest adjustment you made was to learn how to slow down and be in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I live across from the beach, and just to go get up in the morning, walk across the street and catch the sunrise. It is that moment to just be still, be thankful, and just appreciative of everything that you have.
Yeah.
Man. Well, I'm telling you.
It was an adjustment, I definitely felt out of place, just kind of like out of my own element for probably the first 6 months or so. But, the community really welcomed me. Even the place where I stayed in my Airbnb, which was only for 28 days, they really welcomed me as being from that community because, that's where I first landed. And to them, so it took me some time to, like you say, it forced you to slow down. And so, for months, I felt almost stagnant. Like I wasn't used to, like you say, just not always churning and chugging and, and so now it might sound like I'm churning and chugging, but like I say, it's just how my brain works and what makes me happy and what makes me passionate. But I have, I was saying to you earlier, why do today what you can put off till tomorrow? Like everything can wait. Like nothing is that urgent. It's all like, all right, it doesn't get done, it'll get done later.
Yes. I used to be that person that had to have it done. I had a schedule. Every morning I wake up with a list of things to do. Now I'm like, man, I'm just going to go with the flow. There's no stress.
I do create a to-do list, but it's not for necessarily today. It's just kind of like, for the week, let's see if we can get these things done this week,
Now, did you meet your boyfriend there, or did you know him prior to moving down?
No, I met him here. I had actually pretty much given up on love before I came to Jamaica. I had a really bad breakup with my daughter's father. He was abusive. And, that was a big push for my move even to Atlanta. Like I said before, we came to Jamaica. And so when I met him in Three Hills, a little village that I stayed in, and he was just so helpful. Like he was, and he didn't want anything, like he, a lot, when you come to Jamaica first as a tourist or, an outsider, there's a lot of predatory behavior, people are trying to, manipulate you, trying to get money for things that don't cost money, like, like I say, it's kind of their hustle. So there's no real, you can't be upset, but he was different. I remember one Sunday, I forgot to buy dinner because the local cook shops are closed on a Sunday, and I usually would buy 2 on Saturday in preparation, and I forgot. And he cooked dinner at his own home, packed me up a dinner, and walked it around to the place that I was staying without me asking. I had just mentioned that I forgot to get dinner because I was gonna just give my daughter some oatmeal and I was just not gonna eat, that was the plan. And he brought me this wonderful dinner, and he's an amazing cook. But by the way, I can't even boil water. Okay. So, and so, that, the way to my heart is definitely through my stomach. And
he got it.
He got it. He's a great dad. He's taken on my daughter as if she were his own. I couldn't have I couldn't have asked for more. And I'm just, like you said, like I found life, I found love, I found passion, I found everything here in what I would have considered the worst of my life.
Did you ever see the movie Eat, Pray, Love?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Black version of Eat, Pray, Love.
Yes, yes. I mean, like I said, it's the best, worst thing that ever happened to me.
Beautiful, beautiful. So what do you wish you would have known prior to your move? What advice could you give other people who want to move and become expats? And what do you wish you would have known to say, this would have made life a little bit easier?
Any sort of government agency that you got to go to, passport office, tax office, courthouse, anything like that, be prepared for it to suck.
Really?
Like, yeah, it's gonna take all day. It's gonna take multiple visits. It's gonna like that part. But the good thing is that, you know, you pretty much only have to handle it once. Like, you know, once you get your passport stuff done, you're done. You know, once you get your tax registration stuff done, you're done. You know, so it's not so much of a deterrent, but I just wish I had known ahead of time some of the, you know, just how much it would suck.
Gotcha. So the government's on island time too.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, again, I find that it's not really their fault. What happens is that the people at the very top, you know, the senior managers are elderly. And so they are very resistant to any sorts of upgrades within the system that they won't understand.
Right.
Because if you know, if we digitize all the records, and they don't know how to use a computer, how will they be able to, you know, bitch at the guy below him? You know, like they won't be able to exert their power anymore if there are parts that they no longer understand. And so that really keeps everything kind of, you know, in the dark ages when it comes to these government processes. You'll see those upgrades in private sector processes, you know, when you're looking to apply for a job, going to hire a company, all of those sorts of things. They have, you know, like I said, kind of have moved ahead, but these government folks, you know, they're really holding on to what they know, and so you're not going to see a lot of change in those systems, unfortunately.
Gotcha. So let's go back to the food. Okay. Did you lose weight when you first moved there?
No,
No?
I gained weight.
Get out of here. Because every time I go somewhere for an extended period of time, I get the natural food, the fruit, I get everything. Everything is just organic. And the weight comes off me so fast.
Well, I think that's the difference. See, I was struggling to gain weight. Prior to coming to Jamaica, I have a tendency to drop weight when I'm stressed. Okay. And so after my daughter was born, I lost almost 25 pounds that I could not gain back. I mean, no matter what, because again, my life was just too stressful, too busy, you know, there wasn't enough time for me to care properly for myself. Right. But yeah, once I got to Jamaica and, you know, got myself a full-time chef, you know,
setting you up.
You know, that I love very dearly, you know, I definitely, you know, I started eating much better, like you said, much healthier foods. I started eating, you know, like you said, naturally, my boyfriend would go out into our backyard and pick breadfruits and pick ackee and pick limes and, pick peppers and, make me a whole meal. I've got, roasted breadfruit with ackee and saltfish and lemonade, all from my yard, like, and like I said, because of that, I was able to finally get back to a healthy weight. But for me, getting back to a healthy weight meant gaining weight, while for most people, getting back to a healthy weight might mean losing. But I think for anyone that comes here, I have a neighbor, another expat from Canada, who just got here in June of 2021.
Okay.
And in that time, she has already lost at least 20 pounds. Like you say, fitting into clothes that she hasn't worn since she was in her mid-20s, and she's almost 60, feeling herself, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that's, like I said, for me, yes, I gained weight because that's what I needed to do.
Right.
But I'm finally back to a healthy weight. I look good, I feel good. Yeah, like I look at pictures of myself, I look like I'm aging backwards.
Wow. Island life.
Island life, baby.
Yeah. You look at some Jamaicans, I've met some 70-year-old Jamaicans, and they're just as healthy, they're active, they're moving around. And I'm thinking, what in the world? It's like, you look at a 70-year-old American and it's like, man, why are we so broke down?
They're on like 20 different medications.
Right.
Yeah.
So I admire you, and you are truly an inspiration to everyone.
I would recommend, I would recommend Jamaica for anyone that wants to feel like the majority instead of a minority. Because I moved here, and I would have to say the biggest shock, which is probably just, sad for my own upbringing, but the biggest shock is to never be disrespected based on how I look. Since like I said, I'm a doctor. Like I said, I'm a clinical psychologist, and in the States, people need to know that before they respect me. Yes. They'll see me and it's like, what's this girl want, and then it's like, oh, my bad, I'm sorry, I didn't know,
Right.
But
Right.
In Jamaica, I don't, there is none of that. I'm immediately respected based on how I carry myself, how I, like I say, how I dress, how I move among people, how I speak to others. I've never been, like I say, even followed around in a store. I've never been, looked at funny. I get greeted with Empress. I don't. Yeah, I'm elevated. And if you ever want to feel what that feels like, mm-hmm. Yeah, move to Jamaica.
One thing I've noticed during my travels is that when I meet other Americans in other countries, their first question is, what do you do for a living? Mm-hmm. And it's almost like Americans need to know, what do you do for a living? So I know how to treat you. So mm-hmm. I know how much respect to give you. Mm-hmm. But when I go to other countries and meet the locals, they don't care what you do. Mm-hmm. They don't care.
No one knows I'm a doctor here because all of my work is online. Everything that I do is virtual. So I'm not going to just go around to people, like, hey, what's your name? Dr. Candace. No, like, I'm Candace, and so it would take them a while to be like, holy, even the principal at my daughter's school one day just, found me on Facebook and had to actually call me. It was like, are you really a doctor? I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. And I'm like, it's fine. So now she calls me doc.
God. All right. Well, I just want to thank you for giving me your time. Thank you for sharing part of your world with us, because you're sitting here giving me chills. And I'm like, man, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You are welcome. So how can others reach you if they have any questions What's your website? What's your email? Just share it.
The best way to reach me is through that website, drcandacedrummond.com. It's got everything. It's got contact to me, so you can go ahead and put your contact information. It comes right to my email. It's got all my businesses. So it's got Avid Intellectual, where you can actually self-schedule yourself for various virtual evaluations. There's a list of all of the evaluations there, all of that. There's the Momscapades page, again, where you can go and get your beauty stuff, get your body stuff, get your travel on, get your time back. Like, you can do all of that right there at drcandacedrummond.com. It's just drcandacedrummond.com.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
I want to show you outside.
Okay.
Gotta show you.
Show me your front yard.
Right, my front yard. So, ooh, it's always a there we go, because the light adjusts. Oh. Yeah, this is my front yard. The entirety of the ocean there.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have some people coming by. You have some people saying, "Hey, can I stay with you?"
Thank you again, James, for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, and thank you for being a blessing to others. I appreciate you.
My pleasure.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Bye.